3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Honorable Discharge. Thank you. I'm your host, Ron Ripley, coming at you live from Studio 395 in slutty San Diego, California. We're brought to you by Dysfunctional Veterans Radio, DV Radio. Check them out. Send me emails if you're interested at ronshonorableddischarge@gmail.com. You can check me out on Instagram if you want to look at my own personal goofy photos. This is Honorable Discharge. This is a fun podcast in San Diego where I sit down and I'll be talking with other San Diego veterans, shooting the shit, smoking and joking, just talking about the good old days. Today I am joined by one very special guest, Mr. T.D. Cunningham. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? What's all your stuff?
My stats?
Yeah, your stats. What's your social? What's your last 4 of your social? Give me that.
My name's Tim, but I go by TD Cunningham because my middle name. Just use the initials, better for stage. I'm still in the military, Marines. Been in about 15 years.
Ooh. Are you staying in for the full ride?
Yep.
And you'd be foolish not to.
Yeah. I've been in Recon, Force Recon, basically the whole time.
Force Recon.
Yeah, for the comic book nerds. That's the same unit Frank Castle came up in.
Boom. And for all you comic book nerds that don't know, he's the Punisher. The fucking coolest. He's one of my guys, man. He's up there all over the wall and stuff. I actually got a little Lego Punisher somewhere around there.
Yeah, dude, this is a cool layout, man.
This is a man cave of a studio.
It's like that island in Pinocchio where they turn the boys into donkeys. Like I feel like just go on the roller coaster enough.
Yeah, man. This it's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And at the end, where he's like doing the closing monologue at the end of the movie, and they just spiral out of this big this room, and it's just all these little trinkets from all over the movie, all of his little travels. Yeah, that's kind of what this is.
You ever hear any? So when he died, they did a whole big thing in Rolling Stone, and Johnny Depp wrote a bunch about. So he had to live with Hunter S Thompson.
Oh yeah, they were really tight.
So did you ever hear the story of him in his basement? Like Hunter S Thompson locked him in his basement for a few nights.
No.
Yeah, and then he's down there, and Johnny Depp is just chain smoking cigarettes. Has no idea what's going on. It's in this basement, and he's using what he thinks is a table. Then Hunter S Thompson comes down, and he's like, "Oh, you haven't been smoking cigarettes on that thing, have you?" And it's a giant canister of black powder, like highly volatile.
Jesus,
black
of
powder.
all the things to not be.
Yeah.
And of course, it's in Hunter Thompson's house. He blew his brains out. Out there in Colorado.
He had MS and sent his wife out for groceries.
What in the hell was that? I gotta turn my notifications off, I guess.
Yeah, he ended up he had this thing like when he dies, he wants to be shot out of a cannon. Yeah. He did it. He fucking did it.
He was a crazy man. He was a wild man.
Ran for sheriff.
Hunter Thompson. He did, and he was, I think it was in Montana.
I thought it was Colorado.
Was it Colorado?
Yeah.
Might have been. You're probably right on that. Who knows?
Man, imagine if he was around now. Like Colorado is pretty much what he dreamed it would of living in.
Well, like he hated politicians. Yeah. Like he was notorious for it. So it'd be wild to hear his take on our current office and just all the screwballs we got in charge right now.
Did you see his interview with Bill Clinton? So they had the whole like Ginsburg, him, and Bill Clinton was just coming up. And Bill Clinton everyone was in love with him, like the whole.
He was charismatic for sure.
But he hated. So he's at the table and he's given his platform. And Bill Clinton is, he's a Democrat, but he's tough on crime. He's towards the center. And Hunter S. Thompson's the one reporter that Rolling Stone sent that wants to he's about to lose his mind, man, because he's the exact opposite. He's like, this party is gonna go in the exact opposite direction that it needs to go. It'd be interesting to see what Hunter S. Thompson thought about the world right now.
I was wondering. I just found a little clip of Hunter Thompson on the mainstream media, Clinton and the draft.
Yeah.
Here's 50 seconds on Hunter Thompson there. I'll bring that up. But I mean, I always kind of, because Thompson notoriously hated Nixon.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, I kind of wonder, like, is Trump the closest thing to Nixon that we've got right now? I mean, I'm 37.
Yeah,
I think Reagan was like the first president that I kind of remember.
So I mean, if you look at Nixon back in the day when Nixon, they say like power corrupts you.
Yeah.
But like, I don't really think that it does. I think it just shows who you actually are. And Nixon was almost disbarred when he first started out at his first
bailed.
case. His first case, he was almost disbarred because he was such a corrupt piece of shit. And I think Hunter S. Thompson wouldn't be up in arms about Trump. I think he'd be like, how the fuck did you not see it come? I think he would have seen it. I think he'd be more excited about
the new
Bernie
boss,
stuff.
same as the old boss kind of deal.
It'd be really interesting to have him around.
It's fun to think about like how power corrupts too, because it's you're sitting here like, oh, power corrupts everybody, and well, yeah, it does. I mean, but Keanu Reeves is still kicking ass.
Yeah,
Keanu Reeves is a fucking slut. I love Keanu Reeves. There's a funny meme out there. Have you seen it about
with him walking slow and the?
Well, I mean, there's tons of Keanu Reeves memes, but there's this one about how a child is crying in a restaurant, and Keanu Reeves comes over to the child and says, "What's wrong, kiddo?" And the kid's just inconsolable and he can't stop crying. And so Keanu Reeves, being like the humanitarian, like the feeling man of emotions that he is, he lifts up his shirt and starts breastfeeding the child right then and there. It's like it's like this whole story, and you're like, right until you get to that last line, you're like, oh god damn it, everything about that was believable.
Yeah. Did you see they're doing Bill and Ted?
Yeah. They're pretty excited.
Excited.
Were you a fan of the originals?
Fuck yeah.
I remember George Carlin as Rufus.
Yeah, right. Are you kidding me?
But I probably couldn't. I mean, aside from excellent, I don't think I could quote any Bill and Ted.
Really?
Or except be excellent to each other.
I like the second one a lot too, when they're like best 3 out of 5, and then he keeps beating them like an electric hockey or like football. That's worth
it for a rewatch for sure.
Dude, the second one was good. It doesn't get nearly as much credit as it deserves.
So you're currently active duty. You're a strong, handsome Marine. I see you still do push-ups.
Yeah, just came from the gym right before I came here.
Fuck you. I gave that up. I got an elliptical. That's a thing. I just got that. It just assembled it the other week.
Do you use it, or do you just hang your clothes on it?
I literally just it was just assembled the other day, like 2 days ago. I used it yesterday, and it's fun, man. It's cool because it forces you like into this form.
Dude, get a rowing machine.
I love rowing machines, man, because they're just so good for your core.
So good for everything, man. That's where it's at.
My wife's childhood home, her father's, is hanging up in the way back of the garage. It's like this 1960s,
oh, he's got an
like
old rowing machine,
dude. Like the kind of like it fits under your bed.
Can
it's
you get it?
Convenient. If you got to crawl over junk to get to the back of the garage.
Fuck yeah, I'd do that in a heartbeat. I don't have a rowing machine, man. I'd love to have an old.
We have the ocean. Yeah, how's your ocean game? You do any surfing? You go swimming at all?
Busted my shoulder up pretty bad on a jump, so I have to get a surgery. So I still swim, but I'm nervous. I was supposed to get it this week, but I kind of put it off because family stuff and stuff at work. So I'm going to do it in September. So I'm kind of like laying off. But yeah, I do surf. I have a bunch of surf.
When was the last time you were at the beach here in San Diego?
A few days ago.
Really? Oh,
yeah, my job is amphibious. So I'm like
so you're
a big
always
diver.
I keep forgetting you're not like a radio guy.
Yeah, no, I do.
You do guy stuff.
What I do now is I work at VSW. It's a very shallow water. So I run like a underwater drone stuff, and we dive. And
if there are any veterans of shallow waters, the old VSW.
Yeah.
And you go, well, I remember I was diving way back in the day. We weren't even fish.
It's always worse back in the day too.
And so, what's your deployment schedule like? You been on any recently?
Yeah, just got back in April.
From where?
Guam. We were out in.
That's pretty slutty.
Yeah, I took a UMS underwater drone platoon out to Guam, and then I went out to like Australia, Indonesia, South Korea.
It's the shitty thing
Japan.
I always hated about the military. It's like I wish they'd stamped a passport. Like you don't get the passport stamps while you're trotting the globe. Yeah. You know, 'cause you got that one ID card. And on one hand, you're like, sweet dude, ID card, see you later, everybody. Fucking, you just. But then on the other hand, you know, looking back on it, oh, you're gonna miss that because those are some pretty bomb ass places.
When did you get out?
I got out in 2005. I was in 2005, and you know the golden years.
Yeah.
The rainbow years.
So you were in when 9/11 happened.
Yeah. Actually, I got in. Like I graduated high school in '99, and then I backpacked around the States for like a year, like just being like this hippie kid from Vermont. And then after I ran out of money, and then I came back home after like a year, and I was just really poor. And I visited my brother. He was 101st in the Army, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna join the military." And he's like, "Don't join the Army. Like join the Air Force. Chicks are way hotter."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, that's solid. That's good. That's good brotherly advice." And plus, I like that you could wear black T-shirts under your BDUs, and you looked good.
Air Force is where it's at, man. There's I work a lot with the CCTs and PJs,
the combat controllers and those guys.
Yeah, that's where it's at. Because part of my
they're
job
fucking rock stars.
Yeah, I control bombs. I work with them a lot.
Yeah, they live a little better than the Air Force guy, you know, bagging some girl at the med tent. You know, like it's actually like one of the coolest stories I ever have from Iraq was like meeting operators down the field. And this was like 2003. The war had just started.
Yeah,
these guys have been there since 2002. You know, and we built like a shitter for them.
Yeah.
We installed this like outhouse, this like one of the Cadillac units, the shower shitter shave units. And they were just like, "Yo, dude, we haven't shit in anything other than a trench in like months, man. That's so fucking good. Like, that's so great. Like, how can we repay you?" And I'm all humble. "Oh man, you guys are cool. You don't have to do anything. That's fine." And this little dude behind me from Philadelphia, he like pokes his head out behind me. He's like, "Yo, what's in them Land Rovers, man?" And the next thing you know, dude, we're fucking out in the desert, tooling around in these Land Rovers that are just tricked out for special forces guys.
Yeah.
Blowing up sand dunes with grenade launchers. That was a great fucking day.
The IFABs, when they switched from the IFABs to the Humvees, like the Humvees we use now, IFABs are where it's at.
I still want a Humvee. I just want a Humvee to just piss off all my neighbors in this neighborhood.
I want one of those IFABs, man.
Spots.
The Mercedes-Benz IFABs.
Those are pretty slutty.
Fucking where it's at.
I feel like the operator community is slowly becoming cyborgs, and they're just getting all the healthy slutty kit.
I would do it, dude, right now. If they would remove my arms, give me robot arms,
and you'd
like
go
a
and
robot heart.
I'd be Jason Bourne with a robot dick. Fuck yeah, dude.
If they could replace, if they uploaded my consciousness into a fucking machine, I would do it right now. Throw me into the.
What would your machine name be?
Just the same, just me, just Tim, just popping out comedy on the weekends.
Fucking robot cyborg.
Yep.
You know, when he's not bombing on stage, he's bombing in Syria. Hey! That's fucking funny. And so now, and it's funny, it's great to have you here. And you're doing comedy now. You're working at another club in San Diego, not the Comedy Store, but you know, it's not your fault. But American Comedy Company, and that's like one of the first places. That is the first place I ever went on stage, and so I have a great love for that club. And what are you doing over there?
Well, honestly, I work door. I do a bunch of basically same stuff you're doing, door, and then wrangling drunks, getting them out. And to tell you the truth, like, so many people out here started at ACC. That's like I did, and
there's definitely a pocket of ACC comedians.
Yeah, and it was like I don't know, the open mic there, everything kind of it kind of made me want to work there. There's a lot of other clubs. Honestly, the Comedy Store's just I don't even know who you have to kill to get over there, so I just wait.
You suck a lot of cock, just a lot, like an inordinate amount of cock. Well, the thing is, I mean, I was always told, like, don't work at a comedy store. Like, don't work at a comedy club.
Same
like,
here.
If you want to do comedy, don't work at a comedy club because it's going to burn you the fuck out. And you're going to hate it. And that was a Madhouse comic tell me that. And I was like, well, that's good advice. And then an opportunity came up at the store. And, like, literally, they hit me up out of the blue. And It's like, hey, there's an opening, and go talk to this guy. And
why would you not? Anyone who says that.
I live so close, and like I said, I didn't want to go there until I was ready, until I knew that my comedy was good enough, because I just didn't want to fuck up at the comedy club that I live, that's in my town. Walk past it with my wife, going to dinner in 20 years, and be like, fuck that up, honey. Yeah. I was joking and say, my dream is someday my name will be on the roof at the Comedy Store. The roof, at least.
I want, and people have said that too, specifically about ACC, because there's some things that are hard about working there, and I honestly, I see it. I see what people are talking about.
But how's the risk versus reward?
I mean, it's like I said, it's a tough job, but I can't see how it blows my mind that people work at these places that don't do comedy. Like, I'm not surprised when someone's like, oh, you do comedy and you work the door. I'm surprised when, like, the waitress doesn't fucking do comedy, does nothing with comedy. And
that's just another waitressing gig. And you're like,
what the fuck are you doing?
Get up there, tell a dick joke.
Yeah, why would you wait? Like, don't do it.
Well, I think it's where veterans. Cheers, by the way.
Yeah,
welcome.
Cheers.
This is great to have you. TD Cunningham sitting down with us, active duty Marine, sitting down talking with honorable discharge. So you're not even honorably discharged yet. There's still time for you to get fucking dishonorably discharged.
5 more years, that'd be fucking.
Boy, wouldn't you? If you got dishonorably discharged at 19, that'd be fuck.
It happens, dude. It happens.
Oh, I'm sure. But as far as comedy goes, I think it's definitely an advantage that veterans have. Like, you've been downrange, been deployed, and some people are terrified of comedy. They're just like, what if I go up there? And I was like, dude, what are they going to fucking throw tomatoes at you? Like, in Iraq, man. Like, I've been shot at, I've been blown up, incinerated. Like, fuck these people. Fuck them all.
The hardest part for me about doing comedy while being in or being a veteran is separating separating the two from stage, because I see a lot of guys go up and that's their whole set. It's like, hey, like minute 1, veteran, and then that's all they're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's like, specifically in San Diego, you won't know how good you are because you're going to get people applauding. People are going to give you mercy laughs.
There's definitely and that's one of the things I love about ACC's open mic is that it's very forgiving. You get a lot of people that, that aren't necessarily even comedy fans. They are real people that are just out.
Yeah.
They're staying at a hotel for a conference or something, and they're just looking for something to do on a Monday or Tuesday night, and they're like, oh, cool, there's a free open mic down the street from the hotel. I'll go check that out.
Yeah.
And when you look at the lineups, like, ACC has great lineups. You guys have great headliners.
Yeah.
And it's such a fun stage. But I think, again, I just think veterans have an advantage in comedy. Yeah. And that they're stronger, they're more confident, and I think it's from there. It's learning how to develop your stage presence. And what I think was weird for me was that, like, it hasn't been in my life until I got to comedy where people were like, my comedic surroundings were like, be more, be bigger, be more you. Yeah. As opposed to, like, the military, it's like, nope.
Yeah,
keep that opinion to your fucking self and get in there and dig the hole. Like, now it's like, no. Tell us why digging the hole sucks. Go into more detail. And that's something that, for me, I was like, ooh, I'm not used to that.
Dude, one of the hardest parts about being a veteran too, with comedy, is like how much drugs and everything is involved in comedy, and you can't be anything to do with, like, so much in
while you're still in, and you're just like, oh, god damn it. But I was gonna ask you, like, does that kind of challenge you to keep your comedy clean?
No, so my comedy, basically, I'm trying not to swear. That's about as clean as I can get right now.
Which is good.
If I can not swear, but it's just, I don't know. I'm having an idea. I don't understand what clean comedy is, because I see clean comedy, the quote unquote, like the Nate Bargatze guy. He's new out of Tennessee. It's supposed to be clean comedy, but it's the same. It basically just seems like the same shit I talk about. Just
clean comedy
swearing.
is don't imagine it as a set, but imagine it as a venue. Like, clean comedy is something that you would do at, like, a charity golf benefit, and you've been hired as a comedian. You want to do clean comedy. You can't be out there saying motherfucker, talking about raping kids, things like that.
Yeah, but could you still talk about kicking an old lady in the chest if you don't swear?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, is the joke, again, consider your audience. It's like these people are all there in suits. They're probably not going to be listening to you. They're there because they have to be, because it's like something for work.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, could you say like, oh, I kicked a woman in the chest? I don't know. Like here in La Jolla, it's like, is she poor? I mean, but that's clean comedy. You can talk about kicking a woman in the chest. Like, at the store, like our opening sets, we're supposed to go up. Like if we're bringing up a headliner or something like that, we have the rule. It's like you have to be cleaner than the person that you're bringing up, and no one ever tells you that before you go up. It's not until after you've gone up and you've bombed, you're like, well, that's my best dick joke. I don't understand why nobody laughed.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you're just there doing an opening set. You're there to hype the show, the venue, the performer. 5 minutes, probably 60 seconds of that should be, hyping the performer, the venue, give it up for Lou, and then you roll into some nice generic jokes, because if you go up there and the first words they hear are cock, pussy, balls, and then someone like Steve Simone comes on who does all family comedy and doesn't swear, they're all desensitized. They're not going to laugh at his shit, which is what they paid that for. And that's what you should be setting up. And I think that's, like a lot of comedians, they want it to be about them. They want it to be about them so much.
This is what we were fucking talking about before we turned the mics on. This is exactly what I was saying.
You're there for the club.
Dude, I look at this scene in San Diego and it's like there's so much potential. There's so much money. There's a lot
of great comics, but
everybody just wants to be a fucking comedian. It's everybody out for themselves. And there's so many places that people, you see them and it's like, dude, all you cared about is just what was going to happen with you. You just wanted to be the center. Yeah, and it's not. There's no management. There's no control of the actual show. You get 5 comedians on a showcase out here. No one wants to fit into their place. No one wants to be the good host. They're like, I guess I'll host. We don't have everyone else. And then they just go up and do their set. They don't. It's just like constantly 5 individuals. It's just a room full of individuals going at it, trying to get. And nobody's getting.
Well, and there's a lot of comedy that's, it's not for everybody. It's not you trying to grow your act or anything. It's just trying to make your buddies in the back of the room laugh. And that's sometimes that can be fucking hysterical. But I mean, is that going to be a paying gig every night? I don't know. I mean, dude, I haven't been in it for 4 years yet. So I'm at like one of the greatest places to watch and learn. And one of the coolest things about the store, it's that, there's so much history. It's been around since '72. Yeah. Here in San Diego. It's been longer in Hollywood, but here it's like every performer that goes on that stage, they're going up on a stage that was built by David Letterman and Yakov Smirnoff back in the day. And like I'm happy, like, yo, dude, I built the popcorn stand. We needed some renovations, so I rebuilt the popcorn stand. I've done some renovations in there, and like I'm just proud to have my carpentry skills, not even my comedy, but my carpentry skills, like in the same room as David Letterman and Yakov Smirnoff. That kind of tickles me a little bit.
I mean, honestly, I don't leave my family and get in my car and drive an hour each way and go hang out till 1 a.m. and work a job in comedy just so I can go make people in the back of the room laugh.
Exactly.
I don't want I'm not trying to get rich and famous. The only thing I want to be is fucking hilarious.
Have you ever tried or ever considered like setting up a comedy night at the base club?
Yeah, I definitely have.
You?
I have. I probably will. My wife. So I was at my last unit, and she got diagnosed with cancer, and we had to come to this unit so she could get treatment and stuff because we were in Japan. Now, while she was going through it, we started a nonprofit. I
hope it wasn't Fukushima.
No. Okay. I don't think so. Who knows?
Goddamn Fukushima. How's she doing now? I'm sorry.
She's in remission. She's good.
Good. That's good to hear. I didn't want to elephant in the room.
No. But we we started this nonprofit, and it was in case things took a turn and she didn't make it, she'd have a legacy specifically for our son and stuff. But it wasn't in her name. It was just, and it wasn't anything to do with veterans, because we even thought about it. It was like, what about veteran stuff, PTSD? But it's so easy to exploit that and to turn it into.
It's an easy heartstring to pull.
Yeah. So what she decided was this thing. It's called Lunch Fix, and it essentially we raise money for underfunded lunch programs in
It's fucking
schools.
great.
Yeah, like kids that have lunch debt that can't pay it off. We basically do fundraisers and then pay off their lunch
Cool,
debt for
man.
them.
Someday you're gonna have a nice private jet made from school money.
Lunch debt money.
No, that's a really noble. That's a noble cause to get behind.
I mean, honestly, the idea was
that.
if it was like if you don't make it, if she doesn't make it through, then there's something to carry her legacy. But if she does make it, then honestly, she can go back to running that instead of working. Right now, she's working, but she's kind of veering towards I'd like to not work and do this instead as a job.
It's very morbidly honorable. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, but you got to get honest. Like when you're facing that shit, you can't. That's one of the reasons I started doing comedy. Is I was just like confronted with so much honesty.
Do you ever talk about it on stage?
Not on stage, no. She's a real private. Like I'll probably get shit for this, but she's really private. She's not. She's the exact opposite of me. Like I'm loud and clumsy and extrovert, and she's very quiet.
Oh, it sounds like they might shop at the same Lululemon.
Dude, and like that, but that honesty, that rigorous honesty, that again, it's not. That would be so. If I wanted to start a mic or something on bass, I don't know if I'd do it on bass just because no one else can get on. Only military. What I would do is I would go to the base. And I would bus a bunch of people who can't get off a base because they got wheelchairs.
Provide
or
transportation.
And I would bring them to a show at the Comedy Store or ACC or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you get press for the club. And I could do a showcase of me, a bunch of veterans who are comedians, bring out vets and other people, and then do a fundraiser for something.
Well, that
would be what I would do. More than like, hey, let's do an open mic at the. And then, because it's just going to be a bunch of veterans trying to push the fucking, and they're not comedians, and now all they think is they just want to get up there and be, oh, I'm going to be the most offensive person in the world. It's like, no, you're not. You're not even going to be like the 1 millionth most offensive. You're just going to be obnoxious.
Unless you're actually delivering an abortion on stage, somebody's done worse.
You're not. That's
this guy named Ken Monroe, big fucking guy, big guy. They used to call him Handsome Ron because he looked like.
I think I have met him. Okay.
yeah. So he basically looks like me if I took care of myself. Big guy, glasses, real loud, super confident. Didn't last long. I liked him. I liked him a lot. He was a super nice guy, and exactly what you're describing. Like, just wanted to go. Oh, I'm gonna be the best. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna tell this fucking. And then like he did, and he was like, "Fuck, that's hard."
Yeah.
And I don't think he quit because like he didn't want to pursue it. I think it just didn't mesh, and that's a hard thing. Like you were saying, like to be managing a family and 2 jobs and try to be out till 2 a.m. Like, you know, for you, and I think the same approach that I had is like my stage time matters.
It matters, and I
like
also
if this is what I'm supposed to be using to grow, then it matters.
I need a job in comedy too. Also, like if I want to do this, then I got to put my money where my mouth is. I got to go get a job working door. Yeah, it's not a lot, but it's, you know.
Oh, it's not gonna.
Because I can't spend gas money going all around town just because for 2 years. You'll be working for free, and so you got to edge yourself
2, if not like
in.
4 or 5, man.
Yeah, I won't get on stage and do jokes about being in the military, not until years later, when I know my stuff's actually good. But I will use being in the military to edge myself into a showcase, to edge myself.
I'd love to do USO stuff.
Yeah,
I would love to like perform
so I
for
was
troops.
setting it up when I was in Guam. That was I've got basically all the connections and everything and how to do it. The idea was I wanted when I was out there is get some guys to come out, but I've talked to them. I figured out exactly how you have to do it and what you got to do. I was thinking like a showcase, but we'd have to eventually, the best way to do it is essentially you need a name.
Yeah.
You need one guy. You got to
have name has some sort of clout
and
that the USO can promote.
Well, they won't work with you. They'll only work through a manager. Right. So you got to have representation too. So you can't contact the USO and be like, "Hey, I'm a veteran. Does you got to have some type of representation."
That's interesting.
Yeah,
it's definitely worth it because I know a bunch of comedians that do military shows and stuff like that. But for me, I mean, I know you can't talk politics, and that's fine. I don't talk about politics on stage, but you know, like for me, any comedy that I do about the military, it's about how, you know, there's this thing in the military that I always noticed it. It's nothing ever got better.
Yeah.
It's like, so take any postage or any base or any duty assignment that you've ever had. when you first get there, you'll hear the old guys, and they'll say like, "Oh, you new guys don't know shit. It used to be so cool. We used to be able to get away with X."
Yeah.
You know, and then by the time you're an old guy, things have been locked down, you know, and have become more restrictive. And then it's just like, you know, you're an old timer going, "You guys don't understand. We used to," you know, and so like World War II is, you know, is like, we used to be able to just call them faggots, you know, and then like by the time Iraq came around, it's like, we just called them queers, and now it's like, no, if you call them anything other than friend, you're out of here.
With my job, it's different. Like the way we deal with things, like, it's hard to explain to people without sounding like a complete psychopath. But
that's why you're on Dysfunctional Veterans. Yeah,
essentially anything that mattered, all that mattered, everything you did was just in service of being lethal, being able to kill. That was it. Like our whole job, and I'm not even kidding. I mean, that like you worked out, that was why you worked out, like not for beach muscles. It was because you want to be able to chase a person down no matter where they go, up a mountain, in a river. You will always get, and then when you get them, have enough wind to beat them to death with your bare hands. Like that's why. So it was just, there's never an end goal. All of us were always trying to go into the CIA or to Delta Force or some CAG. And that was actually, I was putting in a package.
You're like, I want to wait for it. Dick jokes.
No, I was putting in a package for the CIA, and then my wife got cancer, and that's when. So I was putting in for law school. I just graduated, and I was putting in for the CIA. I was putting both things in the next month, and then she got, because it was coming up for Thanksgiving, right between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I was gonna get everything. And it's gonna take about 2 years to get into either of those. Yeah. I wanted to get in the paramilitary branch of the CIA, one of those things. Or law school, get out and go to law school. But I had 2 years before I had to re-enlist, so I was like, fuck it, I'll put these in, and wherever I stand, that's the path I'll choose. And then when she got diagnosed, went to California back here, and as I was back here, they put me in a unit that deals more with like, I'm not doing surveillance, I'm not doing reconnaissance, I'm not looking for HVIs, I'm not doing shooting packages, like minimum exposure shooting, so like none of that stuff, where it was just like I'm kind of focused on, you know, gaining data in the ocean. And I just kind of had this, and then like dealing with my family and my son, I just started thinking about like every person that I've ever killed, like they were someone's son. They were like, things started, I had the time to slow down.
Yeah, but they were fucking jerks though.
It doesn't matter. And I never, they were, but they were my enemy, and I never looked at even the most foulest people we killed or we went after. I don't look at them like that. Like I'll make jokes, and friends of mine who will hear this will be like, fuck you said the most irreverent, hateful shit you could ever say about another human being. But those like were jokes, and read the room like those jokes. I was known as being funny then, but like my mentality kind of changed towards that stuff to where like now it's not that I'm out of the, because I still got 5 years, and I'm still maintain my lethality. I still have a direction and a drive, but I no longer want to go. Before I was chasing it. It's like, oh shit, I'd come off a boat and be like, I got to get to Afghanistan, whatever I got to do. So it's like, now it's like, you know what? I'm not going to not do it, and I'm not going to ask for it. I'm just going to stay where I'm going to stay. And if I got to kill some people, if they put me in combat, I'm not going to hesitate. I'm at one with what I have to do, but I'm not going to hesitate. But like my passion isn't trying to go be the most lethal person on the planet anymore. It's trying to be funny.
Did all this come out in your door guy interview at American Comedy Club?
Dude,
I will fucking dominate the room.
Dude, as a joke, they had me put in a application, and I was like, okay, and then I put in like the times I've guarded the president in fucking different countries and shit like that. I was like, I don't know, you think I can run your door?
Right.
I was like, I could come in as some
guy in a man bun could get the drop on me. Yeah, who knows?
Like more than likely, like what my skill set is actually tailored to for a corporation like this is to come in and consult with you if you had 10 of these and tell you how to like make sure that you have a first responder, active shooter, earthquake. I could set that shit up for a corporation, not work your fucking door. And it's like, I love comedy and I love that club. That's the reason, is that what you were saying, dude. how you started at ACC, the things that mattered to you, that's why I went there. There were really only 2 clubs I would want to work at, that and the Comedy Store.
Well, so what was your comedy aha moment? What were you when you were just out there marining it? Were you just like, you know what? As soon as I get back from killing all these dudes, I'm gonna hit an open mic. I just gotta hit a mic.
I've always just, I knew I'd be good. I'd be like good at this. I knew I could. I don't want to sound shitty.
Like nobody ever told me like, hey, you're going to be the world's most amazing construction project manager.
Yeah.
Stop what you're doing and pursue that life. People have been telling me I'm funny my whole life, and it was really just a matter of knowing that it's like, the difference. I tell a good joke between like, could I learn this as a craft? Could I make this as a career? So when did that happen for you? So
that's when it kind of was like a slow. It wasn't like a lightning bolt. It was kind of like this slow, like coming out of a tunnel. You see the pinhole of light and you just keep walking towards, you can go any direction, but you see that pinhole and you just keep walking. That pinhole gets bigger and bigger and bigger until eventually you're just engulfed in light. That's where you've found the entrance. That's the exit. This
makes sense. This makes sense.
And it's just that pinhole started with that. And then it just became like, honestly, I get obsessed with things when I get into them. But this is something that I'd say.
Did you watch comedy on deployments?
All the time. I watch comedy all the time, but really what it was is honestly going to, so I'd start listen to podcasts and start hearing, because honestly, okay, so the big thing was when my wife got diagnosed, I had to work other jobs to get money because she wasn't working, and I had to
Good for you for not starting like a Kickstarter or something. There's plenty of people out there to be like, my wife has cancer, you can have some. Good for you for.
I'm not gonna lie.
You probably could.
There were nonprofits that helped us out.
Excellent.
With things.
Well, that's what they're there for.
We asked for help. I worked really hard. I worked several jobs, but as I was doing it, I kind of started to see there's people out there like this is a way also eventually to, and I just started to like hone this, and I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna do something, I'd want to do, if I gotta moonlight, I want to moonlight at a place
doing something like this.
And it's like then it kind of all fell together. I would be fucking hilarious in 5 years, and that's it.
I have no goals. I have no goals in comedy. I think part of
you don't want to be hilarious.
That's something like it's not a goal because I just know it's going to happen because I'm just going to work on it.
What's
like,
your
this is all I have. But so like my thing is like my thing in life is like all the goals I've ever had, most of them haven't worked out. And I'm in a better place for it. So why, instead of saying like, because I see a lot of guys that are like, oh, I'm so funny, I'm going to be the next Bill Burr. And it's like, no, you're not. Yeah. Only Bill Burr is Bill Burr.
Yeah.
But if that's your dream to sell at the Garden someday, like, will I ever sell at the Garden? Probably not. The realistic aspect is that like, I've been doing it for almost 4 years. I can do this for 30. Because of what I did in the military, I get disability. Like my bills will always be paid. So, like, I can afford to be a door guy and kind of pursue this because it takes fucking years. But the idea that, like, it's my goal to, like, I really enjoy this podcast. I like talking. I love hosting the open mic at the store. I could be a host, we were talking about it, like how some people just aren't good on stage, but it'll take them years to figure that out. Because we both know comedians that are shit on stage. But we can say, you know what, they'd be perfect for this. They'd be a perfect booker. They'd be a perfect writer, and just manager of a comedy club. Because like there's so many careers in comedy and entertainment. I don't have a goal that I'm going to say I'm going to do this one way or another. What I am going to do is I'm going to enjoy what I'm doing and see where the fuck it takes me.
That's your goal for comedy, then.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's my goal is to get funny. Yours is to see where this thing goes.
See where it goes, and then it's like, again, piggybacking. And it's like people have always told me I'm funny. I know that I'm funny. I love to entertain people. I love what it does for my ego, making a room full of people laugh. I love being able to make a room full of people laugh.
A lot of people would assume, they often do because my comedy's kind of irreverent. They assume things about me that they don't. But like the girl I took to high school prom was an Afghan immigrant who had fled the Taliban. And this is 1999. I graduated the same year as you. So this is before 9/11. I knew everything. Because I had to meet her family, and she was arranged. She had an arranged marriage.
You had to bring over a goat and stuff.
So it was fucking. It was wild,
sweet,
man. And
sweet.
It would, but like I maintain relationships with people I know from Iraq, like our interpreter and stuff. Try to get a lot of people from Iraq out here are the Catholics that.
Oh really?
You know that? So you know the liquor stores.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole network, and it's supposedly racist to say this, but there's a lot of liquor stores in this area that are run by Iraqis,
Catholic Iraqis,
and that's what they were. Christian Catholics and
that
were basically persecuted by Saddam, and they came in the early 90s. So these guys, like their kids and their grandkids were instrumental. Like they're fucking American. They're gonna be making like movies about some of these guys' kids.
Oh,
they were like instrumental fucking like Terps and like badass SF operators and like Delta Force and shit. These guys were no fucking joke, man.
Well, that's
some
why
of these guys.
Again, that's why I wanted a Leon, just because he's it's fun to because his family they were Iraqi refugees. They fled in I think Iraq won, and I'd love to.
So they Shia probably.
Yeah, maybe, perhaps. I don't know. I haven't really asked him. I'm like, it's none of my business. But he's and he's a really funny comedian, very confident on stage. Kind of runs the gambit of like, don't be a brown guy, and be like, all I'm known for is brown guy comedy. It's kind of like why I don't want to do veteran comedy.
Exactly.
I don't want to be known
for.
But the thing is like the comedy
laughs.
Community for veterans is really strong. There's a really strong veteran comedy community out there. But like I try not to go at it because again, it's why I can't do USO shit. It's like if I'm not in a smoke pit, smoking and joking, talking about some time where we made somebody really uncomfortable in the showers because it was funny.
Yeah. Nowadays,
people are like, "Hey, very offensive," and it's like, well, that's why it's funny.
Look at Drew Carey, man. Most people don't even know he was a Marine.
He's a Marine.
And that is honestly that's my framework. Is like I don't want people to be like, who's TD Cunningham? Oh, the guy who was in the military. No, I want people to be like, hey, did you know that TD Cunningham was in the fucking Marines?
Well, it's the same as like any stereotype. You don't want to be an Asian comedian just known for being Asian.
Exactly.
You don't want to be a handicapped comedian playing off your handicap. And that's kind of what it feels like. And I think for veterans to do comedy, you don't want to make your military experiences not a cheap laugh, because for you veterans, they came at a great cost.
Not all veterans.
That's
a lot
true.
Of veterans
some of them
they love that shit.
Yeah, but I mean,
anything
honestly,
to get the clap.
Yeah, anything to get the clap. And with that, we're going to take a break on Honorable Discharge. We're going to check out and see if this mic is being drawn, and I'm going to take a piss.
I got to take a leak too.
Oh! Wait, hold on.
You are such an Air Force guy.
That's the perfect way to come back. We're live talking with TD Cunningham, a comedian, active duty Marine in San Diego. We're just talking about fitness, which is funny because during the break, after we took our respective pees, we watched the Comedy Store drawing, and TD Cunningham's name did not get called. So he's probably not going on, but that's like a common thing every week at the Comedy Store. People call in, so it's not that way at ACC.
No. So the way ACC works is you show up at 7 p.m. You have from 7 to 7:30, and you put in, and your name goes in a bucket, and they draw it right there on stage. And there is no breaking of that law. I mean,
there's no interference, and that's kind of what we do.
You guys are a little better, man. I'm gonna tell you, like the live drawing, because there's always people who are like, there is some shenanigans afoot.
Oh,
not
I'm
with
sure.
you guys, but
no, I'm sure
the mics gets a little shenanigan because again,
rigged bucket,
because how many times are you gonna put up a fucking bomb after bomb after bomb? Motherfuckers are there. Like, you owe the people there, not just the comedians. You owe the people there watching a show. Because at a place like ACC, like you said, there's 50 fucking people who are there to see a comedy show who aren't comedians. And it's like, you kind of owe them some type of entertainment. And you got a room full of dudes and female comedians. You have a room full of comedians that are, you're looking at 15 of them that if you gave them 3 minutes, they'd make everyone laugh.
Yeah.
And then you call up, not just you pull a name out of a hat and it's like, this guy
Well, and that's where it
sucks.
I know,
and
but
last guy
again, that's
just
where it's like,
sucked.
oh, dude, everyone deserves a chance to try.
Fuck that.
And I think that's where. I think it's
That's
where we
why I
have a
don't run the
leg at the store. It's that because we'll run the best of San Diego right after.
Yep.
So it's like, all right, you're gonna see some open mic comedy. You're gonna see, and when I host, I'm like, you guys are gonna see some shit. But you also could see like the beginning of something really famous. And you could say like, hey man, I saw one of their first shows for free at the Comedy Store. And if you can stick around to best of, everyone gets like 6 to 8 minutes instead of 3.
I'm gonna fucking steal that and use that at our place if you don't mind.
I mean,
like
you can.
I'm thinking Tuesday, push the mic up to fucking 6. Mic starts at 7,
and then have like a showcase or
and
something
then after
afterwards.
it's a showcase of the ringers that aren't going to the mic anyway. You go to the mic for 2 hours. It starts at 6. And mic ends at 9.
So that's why like guys that are on best of don't complain about not getting. I mean, because if you're on best of, you can't get on the mic.
Yeah.
You know, you're not allowed.
Shouldn't be able to.
Yeah. So I mean, it wouldn't be fair to get 3 and then 6.
You'd be insane. You'd be a dick. Like
it's a dick move for
sure. You'd have to have something wrong with your head to think that would be okay to fucking do.
So guys that get on the alt list. So the open mic starts at 7, right? So the guys that called in for the lottery and they got randomly drawn, they're going to be on from 7 to 8. The alt list guys are going to be on from like 7:55 to 8:05. And then at 8, the best of show is going to start. That's when people start rolling in, and it's not just comics, and it's actually like real audience members.
And then you get
those people who get alt list spots actually get kind of some of the best spots. Instead of like, okay, cool, opened up the open mic when there were 6 people. It's like by the time they go on stage, there's 60 people.
But what you lose is that minute.
Yeah.
Because I've thought
I don't cut alt list down to 2 minutes. I keep it at 3 whenever I go, and I try to get up everybody that I can.
This is what made me laugh when you were saying that, is because when I left on deployment in October, it was different because apparently Nathan Donovan started going out because he works in La Jolla, and he'd go and he'd hang out at the Comedy Store. He'd videotape himself on Instagram being there at noon, and they'd be like, all right, first on the alt list. So he would never sign up, and then he'd always be the first on the alt list. Because what happened is he went in and went to talk to somebody. He would like showed up, someone held a spot. He was like, oh, I'm second. And then like someone came up like, no, I was here at 6. I was first. And then it was like, fuck you mean you were I work down the street. I'll come here at 3 in the afternoon. They were like, nah, it doesn't work. It was like, oh, okay. So then he started showing up.
He muscled his way in, huh?
So what happened is he did that so much that every week he was always on the alt list. So he was always up. And the alt list has the best spots. The only thing is, to go for the alt list, you can't, it's a crapshoot because there'll be people out there waiting. So if you miss people, if you get there too late, you're fucked. Or you got to wait all day for 2 minutes at the best spot.
Right.
It's a fucking give and take. But he always knew because he worked there. He'd walk by at noon, like, hey, I'm out at the Comedy Store. Boom, first on the alt list. And then he'd go back to work. And then he'd just show up at 7 o'clock and he'd go on the best sport in the fucking alt list. He's number 1 every time.
Smart. What do you think of Nathan?
Great. He's the guy who got me my job. He and I are friends.
I like his sport coat game.
Yeah.
That's always nice and refreshing.
It's a bit.
And if you're listening here, I mean, we're just 2 comics talking about what a pain in the dick it is to get stage time, and especially like we were saying, like as veterans, it's like, man, we really value our time. We know what we're gonna get the most out of, and the cool thing about being a vet is like it puts you in a position like I've got a little disposable income that most comics don't have. Like a lot of comics have like these it's like a source of pride. They're like, I lived with 5 other comics in a one room studio. Exactly. There's so many ways to do this, and again, there's so many venues and ways to do comedy.
Nah, dude, I got a pool and a hot tub. I live with no fucking comics.
But for you, then it's just as easy to buy a $30 mic and mic stand and set up in your garage and get no feedback because you're just running your jokes to an empty room.
Yeah.
And you can do that from the comfort of your own home, and you can get comfortable doing it. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, that mic, I have a mic here in this studio that, like I'll just stand up and I'll run bits with. And it wasn't until I started doing that like I ran this joke about how when my wife and I got married,
our strong connection. We got this strong connection in the day
Holy
we got married.
shit! I just noticed that.
Yeah,
I'm doing that. I have a.
It's so subliminal.
Dude, I'm sorry for interrupting your story, but
It just freaks you out, huh? It just appears
no, dude. I was in a whole shit ton of bands. I play a lot of music, and
just walk right by it.
But no, I'm gonna do that. It's like the square is set up like a stage, dude.
Yeah,
I'm gonna build.
It's just a carpet.
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna
so
do
like
this.
that like totally helped on a bit, and it was like I was running this bit about my wife growing a beard. Like the second the preacher said, you know, I pronounce you husband and wife, you know, we both stopped shaving. You know, and it was like, yeah, man, and I kept on making this tag like, oh, she's like Gandalf. She's like Gandalf. And then once I got the mic stand in my garage, I finally had the mic off the stand, and I had the stand in my hand. And so I'm like Lord of the Rings, like, you shall not smash. And it was funny. I was like, man, so you get that physicality.
Yeah.
You get to like, you know, and so I would ask other comedians too. I'm like, so how often do you rehearse? And they're like, what?
Yeah.
And it's like, rehearse. Like, it nothing drives me crazier than seeing comics check their phone and their notes and stuff on stage. It's like if you were a musician, you wouldn't go on stage without knowing the songs that you were going to play, would you? Like, even if you don't play it well, you know, like you're still learning, okay. But I mean, like, don't fucking go up there and be like, it's all right, I wrote this yesterday. No, that's not funny. Like, you're wasting fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, know what you're going to say when you go up there.
Dude, that's I snap in like that too, but not like that. I'm gonna. Holy shit! And now that I think about it, I should have been doing that since
Oh
day
man, I got
one,
another
dude.
trick for you. You want to see this? Because I hate comics looking at their phones. What I'll do is I'll put my set list on the back of my phone. So instead of like, you know, and I'll put that on the stool next to my drink. So if I do forget where I'm going, even if it's like, all right, so it's veterans, blah 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 blah, PTSD, like that's veteran stuff. I can know, like, oh, I'm talking about wife stuff. I mentioned the shaving thing. Let's start here. We're a team. Boom, and I can just go from there and figure that out on the fly. And people have seen that and they're like, holy shit, you have your set list on the back. I'm like, why don't you? Like, it's such an easy thing to do, and it's like you really map it out and say, like, you know, like, and you know, once you have the mic in there, and like I'll sit there and I'll record it. I'll run bits on my mic in my garage, and then
How
I'll
long
record
is that set?
This is I could do 20 minutes with this
That's
easily.
20. Here's where I'm at with my plan, my fucking plan of attack.
Yeah, what's your comedy?
Is basically locally, I just have to get good enough for the Comedy Store to be like, would you like to come to I can't get to the Comedy Store through the mics. I put in every week for the mics, but maybe I'll get once every. But basically, eventually, I got to wait for someone to be like, damn, we heard you good enough. Would you like to come do a 6-minute thing on Best of one of these? So I know it's going to take me 2 years.
Well, and that's the thing
is
that it does. I mean, they say, I mean, that's the kind of the premise I've been going off of is everybody says it takes 7 years. 7 years for a comic to, quote, find their voice. Which is, well, I don't think that's unfair, actually. I mean, like, and I've gone on stage, and again, when we were talking about.
How many years to get paid?
I mean, that also depends. I mean, and it also depends on what your definition of getting paid is, too. Like, I mean, like we were talking about like going on clean comedy.
Yeah.
And so like going on and doing a clean set. Like I've come off the stage and my boss is like, office, come on, office, right fucking now. So you go to the office and boss is like, how the fuck did you run that set? And you're like, what? I didn't swear once. I thought it was totally clean. It's like you talked about your dad fucking another guy's wife and molesting kids at Legoland. I'm like, I didn't swear. And they're like, you have to be clean. So my boss sat me down and he's like, I get it. And the jokes you're telling are clever. They're good. But you personally are smarter than the jokes that you're telling on stage. You need to figure that out. And that's going to take years. Every comic needs to tell those dick jokes. Because when you're a new comic, first 3 to 5 years, you're like, oh man, people have been telling me I'm funny. Here's a fart joke. Here's a dick joke. Here's a joke about my vagina. You got to get that shit out of your system. And that's kind of where I'm at. You know, like I'm at the middle tail end of like telling those fart dick jokes, and I love them. I love fart dick jokes.
I'm not there. I'm like I say, I'm a little past that.
But I mean, and if you are past that, I mean, it's still a good time, like while you're in the military and while you don't exactly have the freedom to go fuck. That's when you should be working on your clean comedy, because I think cleaner comedy is gonna be I feel like that's like a longer projection. That's a longer timeline. You know, like in the store in the 70s, like Leno was the guy who would go and do golf resort, you know, gigs and stuff when everyone else was trying to do a bar show, you know, so they could do their act. You know, Leno was like, nah, dude, I want to get paid, so I want to be a bar. You know, like I want if it takes me cleaning up my act so that I can tell jokes at a golf course. Then I'll do it. And you know, Leno is Leno today.
Leno's got a warehouse full of
Leno's got a warehouse full of fucking priceless cars. So it really is. It's like, it's all about, I think 7 years is fair because it is a huge industry. Comedy is a huge industry. So for you to say like, boy, which way am I going to go? Which way am I going to maneuver? You know, you talk about like these greats that have networked and stuff like that. Oh, I know this person. I know that person. Those are relationships that are based on 20 years. And how I look at it is like, I was a carpenter before, and I'm a journeyman level carpenter now. That's the only way you can do that is be a carpenter for more than 15 years and acquire a set of skills.
There's ways in if you're gay.
Sure, I mean, it's not gay if it's family.
Exactly.
But comedy is like that too. It's like most comics have too big of an ego to accept the fact that like there is kind of an apprenticeship time, not where you're necessarily learning under somebody, but you are learning.
Like being a journeyman too, though.
Yeah.
There are back doors if you're willing to go.
Right. Well, I mean, and eventually it comes to the time, like once you're a journeyman level comedian, you're like, all right, man, I've been in comedy for 7 to 8 years. I know club owners. I know I've got 10 minutes.
Should I shave my beard so I don't give them a rug burn when I blow them?
I will never do that, man. I can't imagine a career, and that's why I chose comedy. That's why I'm in comedy.
Exactly,
it's because I want to do what the fuck I want.
Yeah.
If I wanted to suck cock for a paycheck, I would go back to construction management.
Yeah,
you know, like I would go be an accountant. I'd
stay in the fucking Marine Corps if I.
Yeah, I mean, you might be a colonel someday. Who knows? But I mean, yeah, comedy for me, it's like it's my end game. It's what I've decided to do at the end of my life, and I know I'm late to joining comedy, and I'm 37, and I was 34, 35 when I started.
Same here, man. I'm in the same fucking boat, dude.
But I know that it's something that I want to do as opposed to anything else.
Honestly, when people are like, "Oh, you're old, you're doing this too late," and I'm like, dude,
no, man.
I am a fucking pit viper. You're like, watch your
you know, Vicky
ass,
Barbalack.
motherfucker.
Vicky Barbalack, she's 16.
Ari.
And she was just on America's Got Talent, and she's killing it now. She's been a comic for 20 years.
What about Ari, who fucking started
Shafir?
He was 30 something when he started. Now he's doing Sober October, fucking Joe Rogan's fucking
Bert Kreischer. And, I mean,
you
like,
fucking kidding me, dude? Like,
well, that's why the store is great.
He doesn't even use
man.
his fucking phone, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, people give me that shit. They give me shit for it, but I'm like, dude, better watch your ass, man.
Well, the thing is an older, more mature kind of thing, like, is something that people appreciate. Like those big guys that are seen. Like, if you're gonna get picked up by somebody, who do you think has a better chance of getting picked up by a major headliner? Say like Dave Attell. A 40-year-old comic who can stand on his own for 10 minutes on stage, and will be there because they're in their 40s and have military experience. You know they're not going to get drunk and blow off the gig the night before. Yeah. Or a 19-year-old comic that is pretty sharp,
thinks they're awesome because
and it's got the ego in this. But you got to think, like, it's like a major headliner is basing their reputation on the people they bring to shows. That's why sometimes at the Comedy Store we're not even allowed to go up. So some headliners are like, no, dude, no one can go up that isn't on my show that I don't know. I haven't seen their comedy, and we respect that. It's their show.
What I also look at is,
are there birds out there?
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Will they hear that on the podcast?
Maybe you guys hearing the beauteous sounds of nature. Last time there was somebody building something in the next lot of. Hey, bird, shut the fuck up! Oh, caw.
So what I see when I think of older people, what's fucked up with us is as we're older, it's like when we get on stage, there is no fucking chance that we're not allowed to be funny. Like anyone in that crowd that doesn't, like when you're doing an open mic and you've got all the comedians there, they know you, they've heard your set, it's whatever, they don't really care who's going up. But the crowd that doesn't know you, when they see a 36-year-old or a 40-year-old get on stage, they're like, 40 years old with a microphone on a stage, this motherfucker's funny. They're not going to allow for...
That's a hit or miss.
I'm saying they're not going to allow... If you're not funny, you will be fucking chaff real quick. You're not going to stay in the game if you start late and you don't get good quick. You have to hit.
So for the
a
people
curve,
at home,
man.
say, how would you describe your comedy? So that, since I haven't heard it, like, are you family? Are you politics? Are you sports?
So what I do, mostly family, everyday stuff. But what I do is,
you got kids?
yeah, I have a son.
You got a son? How old's your son?
3, almost 4.
Ah,
Major part of my set.
Yeah.
But what I do
It's a good age.
is essentially, basically, you see life and what makes you absolutely fucking furious about it. Because what I noticed is, like, I started doing, everyone was telling me, set up, punchline, set up, punchline,
Yeah.
pause, calm down because you're too fast, calm down. And then I started to realize that what people love, I get people in tears is when I am basically fucking ranting and snapping. So what I've decided is, essentially, I'm not going to go along those traditional routes. I've got a few traditional jokes. They got no meat on them. I've cut them down to exactly where they need to be, and that's to win the crowd when I start fucking up, because it goes off the rails when you have that high energy rant.
Right.
But what I do, I go with the energy, I go with the rant, and my goal is basically to hone that. It's like all this power and energy, and if you can fucking focus that, then you can turn it into a laser beam that becomes something fucking powerful.
I can't agree more. For me, it's a slow burn. It's a long game. Like again, like I really just, I'm like,
I'm the exact opposite of slow. We got to do a show together, dude.
slow burn and long game, ladies and gentlemen. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like the more in life I've tried to make happen.
I'm a flash in the pan, dude.
But I mean, there's, you know, like I'm of the old. I mean, maybe
I'm a
it's
blue flame, dude.
maybe it's Air Force of me, but I'm of the old adage, you know, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. You know,
Same
I always
here,
think
dude.
of like the reload drills, and it's
Yeah.
I tried to explain it to my wife, you know. She's like, "What does that mean?" And it's like, well, you know, it's like if you try to fucking slap in a mag, you know, you're gonna fucking fumble, and you're gonna.
But that's
just
the thing.
Take that second and fucking breathe, and just have it be nice and smooth. And
Well, here's the thing, man. That shit right here, that's sexy. That fucking smooth, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Fucking bang, bang, bang. That's fucking sexy. But you know what's funny? Watching someone get pissed off trying to jam a fucking magazine in.
that is
That's
pretty funny.
It's like throws one magazine on the
have you
ground,
done this before, Private?
fuck this motherfucker, and like starts fucking throwing magazines, then finally it gets it and like
What is this, Chinese?
bam, bam. It's like bam, and they're like drills over and he's like bam, bam, and then throws
Maybe
the
if
gun
you
at
turn it to the side a little.
That shit's fucking hilarious.
That is pretty funny.
And that's what I've kind of realized, and that's what I want. What I'm going for is basically off the rails, but like I meant to be off the
Like
rails.
anything you want to plug, like actually, like your the nonprofit, your wife's
Hey,
nonprofit.
so the nonprofit's called Lunch Fix. We're going to be doing a few shows.
Lunch Fix. Like, is there a website?
Lunch. We're throwing the website up. I had one up. I took it down because the chemo and radiation and stuff. I had
You were
to focus
busy.
on other
Yeah,
things.
some things going on.
So we're putting it back up. The website will be finished here shortly. Once the website gets up, we're going to be doing our first initial showcase at ACC. A lot of the fundraising is going to be done through comedy shows, and there are two things we're trying to feed with Lunch Fix fundraisers, and that's kids who can't afford to pay for themselves to eat, with like they're from poor families, and comedians who can't afford to pay themselves.
We're all
So
also poor.
If you are a comedian out there, and when we start running these gigs, if you see Lunch Fix is running for it, we're going to be putting, some of them are going to be clean, some of them are going to not be. I'll be hosting almost all of them, but I'll put the parameters.
From personal experience, nothing is worse than telling dick jokes and then finding
Yeah.
out there's toddlers in the crowd.
But and there's probably not going to be kids at the events, but it's going to be a kid linked event. So some of these things we're going to hold auditions to go in. But I'm telling you, if it's an audition for Lunch Fix, if you hear it, it's attached with me, you will get paid. You won't get paid for the audition. You will get paid.
It's
if you
a
get
paying
picked.
gig.
Yes, it's a paying gig, and I'll do everything I can to make sure it's a more than fair paying gig.
Right, get some tuna and some cheddar.
And also, you'll be on stage at fucking ACC. That's going to be our first set.
Well, I mean, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm
Dude,
sorry Sean flaked on it, but I had a hell of a good time talking to you.
Me? Dude, I will come here anytime. And honestly, thank you for fucking
Hey man,
having me out.
cheers!
Dude.
It's a lot of
Anytime,
fun,
man.
and it's really great. Like I said, we're also two veterans at the same age going into comedy. With that, I think I'm gonna close this out.
man.
I'm gonna throw on that.
Hey, if anyone wants to check me out,
Yeah.
Oh,
Pitch
all right.
yourself.
TD Cunningham, that's across all boards. YouTube, fucking Instagram, Facebook, just TD Cunningham, guys.
San Diego.
Thank you.
Comedian. Slutty Marine.
Yeah, you want to see me? Come check out ACC, American Comedy Company. I'll be at the door.
And I am Ron Ripley. This has been Honorable Discharge. Thank you so much for listening. It's always a pleasure being on Dysfunctional Veterans Radio. I hope you check out all their shows. Shout out to DV6. Shout out to DV PTSDog and all of the hits out there. For that, I'm out of here. Studio 395, San Diego.
Peace.
Fucking out. Fucking A.
Thank you, Officer Ripley. That will be all.
God damn it, that's not all.
You can hit me up most Wednesday nights at the La Jolla Comedy Store. If I'm not hosting the mic, I'll usually be working or throwing down a set on Best Of. Those shows start at 8 o'clock. Those are always fun to come down and see. Be sure to like and subscribe to Dysfunctional Veterans Radio. Like and subscribe to my shit. I love followers of all kinds.